Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Two Nerds and a Podcast. This episode, we're going to talk about our year in review, which honestly, we both have had a very good year.
Yes.
It hasn't ended on the best of terms for sure, but the rest of the year was good. What do we want to talk about first? Do we
We
want to
didn't
talk
really plan
about
this out very
how?
well.
No, we didn't. Do we want to just go backwards and talk about how it's ended so far?
Yeah, we'll do that because we're both. It's when we're recording this, it's the first of the year,
Yeah.
and
So
it's been a rough
it's
few days.
um do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Let's let you go first because you've had an eventful last couple of days.
I have. So I've been in the hospital for the last week. I'm okay now. I'm in significantly less pain. I'm moving around. I haven't gone back to work yet. But basically my gallbladder, the tiny little organ in the right side of your body under your rib cage, that doesn't have a huge significance in your functioning day to day, has decided it doesn't like me. It also has decided that it wanted to collect its own set of rocks, and then try to spit one out. And so,
He wanted to
I
show
had
you what he made.
yeah, he's like, "Look what I did." And I'm like, "That's amazing. It could have stayed in the bag with the rest of the rocks." Um, so basically, so we're like Casey said, we're recording this on the first. Last Tuesday, Tuesday, the day after Christmas, um, I was in. I thought it was a stomach ache. I was in so much pain that I went home from work. And if you know me at all, I will not go home from work, from school, or from any, like, I will tough it out and just survive the day and then go home and cry.
Mhm.
It felt like I had a balloon tucked under my ribs. So it hurt to
Ugh.
breathe, it hurt to sit, it hurt to lay down. It didn't matter. And I sat through my whole lunch, my half an hour lunch, thinking it'll go away because I figured it was just gas. I figured it was one of those things just trapped in there. It'll be fine. It wasn't fine. I literally was like, okay, I'll take a 45-minute lunch then. So I sat there for another 15 minutes to see if it'd go away. It didn't do that. So I told my boss, I don't feel good. And honestly, at that point, I was getting a bit nauseous. So I didn't know what end it was going to come out of. And I'm like, I'm going to go home. And he goes, okay. And typically when I don't get sick that often, but normally when I do get sick, it's either barely anything or it's the whole shebang. There's like no in
It's over
between.
dramatic, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just, again, I thought it was gas because my tummy was, doing the gurgle, rumble kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, because I didn't eat anything out of the ordinary. I ate a lot of Christmas food over Christmas, but at this point, that was yesterday. So I don't know why I'd be feeling it today and not last night. And then I can't remember. I think my dad might have said, "Do you want to go to urgent care?" And I'm like, "Nah, it'll be fine. I just don't feel good." I took a 4-hour nap when I got home, and I felt slightly better. So I was like, I knew it. It was just stupid gas that's really hurting. And then at like 8:30 at night, I threw up, and I don't throw up for anything ever. Like, throwing up is like the absolute last resort that my body has for anything. And because I hadn't eaten anything all day, I didn't have anything to throw up. But that was because, of course, me and my mom and my dad are all sitting there on the Google machine going, what does this mean? What? And the only difference between gas and your appendix rupturing is throwing up. And so my mom's like, "You want to go to urgent care?" And I went, "Yep." So we spent, of course, all the urgent cares out in the area that I live in close either at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. So I had to go to the emergency room, and we sat there for 9 hours.
Oh
And
God.
yeah, it was real bad. And of course, there was a couple people. I guess, who are kind of regulars for emergency room goers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's really busy today." I went, wonderful. It's exactly what I wanted to hear as I'm in excruciating pain. Um, and I think it was like probably like 3 in the morning at this point. I finally got, they had to do blood and an ultrasound. And during the ultrasound, the girl, because I glanced over and I could see all these tiny little, like, they look like tiny little pebbles. And I'm like, that doesn't look good. And the girl who was doing it, she's like, "Did you eat anything today?" And I go, "I haven't eaten anything since 4 p.m. I tried to eat some soup. So it's definitely not that." And so they're like, "Yeah, you have a lot of gallstones in your gallbladder, which isn't uncommon." But they're like, "We think your pain is from one being lodged into the duct that connects it to, I believe it's your intestine or your liver, one of those." I was like, "Cool." And they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna admit you to the hospital now." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I've had 2 surgeries. I had one to get the little stone that was stuck out, and then I had one to yank the whole gallbladder out. And yeah, now I'm home, and I have one more surgery I have to go through in a
Really?
couple
Another
months.
one?
Yeah, in a couple months, because when they took the stone that was blocking out, they had to put a stent in. So I have to go to get the stent out because the gallbladder is no
Dang.
longer there. And honestly, that one, it's a ENCP or ERCP, something like that. That one was the worst one. That was the first surgery I had to go through, and they go through your throat. So they stick a
Ugh.
big old tube in your mouth with tools and get it out that way. And I don't do anything throat related. Don't touch my throat. Don't, like, having my wisdom teeth yanked out of my mouth was traumatic enough, but this was far more traumatic. I was not feeling good. My bowels were just all over the place. I didn't know if I was gonna poop, if I was gonna pee. I didn't know what was happening. And then, of course, I don't know if any of you out there have ever been admitted to the hospital for surgeries and stuff, but the doctors don't ever come to talk to you about anything ever. And so the first time I saw the doctor that did that procedure was literally when they were slapping me on the table and getting me ready to go. So I wasn't comfortable. It was an awful experience. I'm really sad that I have to do it again. At least this time I know what's coming, but it was a terrible experience. But yeah, that's the first time I've ever been admitted to the hospital. I've never had to stay in a hospital, so it
But you made
was
it out of the hospital before the new year,
I did. I went home
so you
before the new
didn't start the new
year.
year.
I did not start the new year in the hospital. I started the new year in my own bed without a gallbladder, which my mom also doesn't have her gallbladder, so it's not really a surprise that I had to get mine yanked out. But I did surprise everybody with how young I was.
That's what my dad said too.
Yeah.
My dad was like, "She's really young," and I was like, I was like, "Dad, I don't know. I just was telling you
Yeah,
that."
I feel like the normal gauge, because like a lot of the older women I work with, they have their gallbladders out. I don't, my mom was in her 30s when she had hers yanked out, or maybe she was in her 40s. I would say late 30s, early 40s, because my brother was really little. So she was probably close to 40 when she had hers out. So I'm not that much earlier than her, but I'm just glad that it was one during it was after Christmas, because before Christmas is so insane that it didn't work for my schedule. But it didn't work. But to
Your
both of
medical
my
emergency just didn't work for your schedule, it's fine.
no, it can't go before Christmas. But both of my parents were off the week after Christmas. So both of them were here. Both of them were able to kind of help me with stuff and be there. So it was nice. All my nurses were amazing. And I only had one roommate that was a bit crazy. She was confused, so she was always asking if it was day or night, and she was always yelling, "Hey, person in the other bed," and I ignored her because I just did not have the energy to interact with anybody. But I was looking at, so I finally got to take a shower the other day, yesterday. Um which was great because I haven't had a shower for a week. Um which I know doesn't sound like the most terrible thing, but when you're in the hospital and
Oh, yeah, and, like, the hospital feeling and smell, it's just like,
it's just
bleh.
so bad, and then because I had very little control over my bowel movements, there was a lot of bodily fluids involved that are normally not involved in laying in bed, so I felt really gross and just like bleh. So I got to take a shower, and uh the I have 4 incisions on my stomach now from where they had to take my gallbladder out. And the one closest to my belly button is my belly button literally looks like a pool of red jello because it bled so much that it's just all gross and crusted in there. But I noticed that um my most gnarly, like, they're not even scars, but I'm bruised everywhere from them taking so much blood because I had to have blood taken at least, I think it was twice a day. And it wasn't
Mhm.
always through. I had 2 IVs. I had 1 IV in each arm. And then I had she one nurse had to poke me twice in my hand because she couldn't find my vein. And as she's doing that, I'm sitting there going, Kacie would never do this to me. She'd get it on the first try and be done. But I've got so many bruises from all the needles, and then during the first surgery, I think I must have. I don't know if I like retched or if I just coughed really hard, but I've got a few blood vessels in the left eye that have broken, so like half my eye is red. And it looks really gross. So I look absolutely disgusting. But I'm alive and I feel
Yes.
much better. Thank you to all of my friends who checked in on me throughout the week. A couple of them came to see me in the hospital, which was nice. And I warned them, I go, I don't look good. And they're like, that's okay. And I'm like, okay. And I don't smell good either. So be aware. But I'm home, and that's how the year went out for me.
The only way to go is up, because
Yep.
when you start the year off at rock bottom, you can't get any worse, right?
Yeah, it only goes up from here. I am sad because I did have to cancel some of my travel plans, only because I physically and mentally do not feel ready to get on an airplane.
Oh, you
But
were supposed to go travel this month,
I
huh?
was I was supposed to go to
I
Oklahoma for the
forgot, yeah.
weekend. Luckily it wasn't for. I mean, it's Zachary's 3rd birthday. So happy birthday, Zachary. But it was just for that. So luckily it wasn't like anybody's wedding or anything like that. But we'll just postpone it to later. Um, but yeah, how about you, Casey? How's your last days of the year been?
Oh, um, yeah, not as bad as yours, but yesterday I did go listen, okay, I'm gonna preface this by saying that I'm not an outdoorsy person, nor have I ever claimed to be, nor will I ever be.
The amount of outdoorsy she gets is Disneyland. That's about as far
Yeah,
as she goes.
pretty much. So yesterday we decided to go hiking at Mount Charleston. It's, like, a little bit of outside of, Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And, it, like, had some snow there, okay? But I was like, "Oh, this isn't bad," you know? It's, like, a little bit of snow, it's kinda
Isn't it
chilly.
cold?
It was yeah, it was, like, 36 degrees, but I had a bunch of layers,
Okay.
and the cold wasn't even the problem because I started, like, sweating my ass
Mm,
off,
yeah.
um, because the entire trail was uphill because it's a
Mhm.
mountain,
Yeah.
and, the elevation nearly killed me the entire there was, like,
Oh.
4 or 5 times where I was like, "I'm about to pass out, and
Mhm.
my limp body is gonna roll down this mountain, and whoever's at the bottom is gonna have to catch it."
Yeah.
So that was fun. I was like, "I'm gonna die. This is gonna be the end. I don't make it to 2024." Um, but I made it. I made it to the top, kinda. We didn't go very far.
Was it worth it?
And then
Was the view pretty?
it was pretty. The coming down the mountain, which you would think that's the easy part, right? You're not going uphill, you're going downhill.
Yeah, but
"Baby,
you and
let's go."
downhill don't work out very well most of the time.
Yeah, I ended up falling, like, probably,
A
like,
couple, at
8
least a few times?
times.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Um, I ripped my pants. I have, like, 2 giant bruises and, like, a
Mm.
slash going down, like, my ass.
Ouch.
My knee, I, like, scraped up and cut up,
Oh
and
gosh, the
then
knee is the worst.
yeah, and then, like, my hands and my wrists, my body hurts
Mm.
so bad from
Yeah.
that, and then on top of it, I'm, like, getting sick. I have, like, a fever
Yeah, see,
and,
I
yeah,
think my cold is coming back too. I finally got over my cold and then I got admitted to the hospital and now I think it's like
and yeah,
trying
hospital
to hang
has sick
on.
people.
Yeah, and then, like, there was enough sick people, enough COVID people that the nurses and stuff had to go back to wearing masks as, like, a mandatory thing while I was there, so I was like, "Awesome. I love this for me."
Yeah, so we've had
Um,
pretty good New Year's.
yeah, so we're banged up here at the end of the year, but,
Yeah.
overall, we had a very adventurous year, both you and I.
Yes, we did a lot of traveling.
Yes. Yeah,
We
I was
did
thinking
you did lots of traveling.
I did a lot of far away traveling. So,
Yes.
if we rewind it back, so in March, I went to Utah for the first time because my friend Tammy lives out there. So I spent a week out there, and it was beautiful, and I had fun. It was great because so Tammy and I work for the same company, and her because Utah's labor laws are different than California labor laws. So Tammy was able to swing it to where she could go into work really early and then like be off by noon. So we had the rest of the day. And then the week before I showed up, her boss was like, "Oh, yeah, actually, we can't do that." So Tammy had to like work her normal hours, which she was furious about. But I told her not to worry about it because I literally lazed around the house with her dog and just played video games and watched movies. And then when she was home, we went and did stuff. So I got to see Utah for the first time. And then
Were there
let's
lots of
see.
Mormons there? Did you see a lot of
You know,
Mormons?
I have no idea. She kind of lives, I would say, in what we would call the little California of Utah because she lives in like a her house is like it was built like she picked everything she wanted in her house and designed it the way she wanted it to be. So it's all new neighborhood. Most of her neighbors are from California. So there wasn't necessarily a lot of Mormon people, but I also didn't really come across a lot of Mormon people while we were there. Um
Or
like I
just
feel like
assume because it's Utah.
because it's Utah, it's the Mormon capital of the world, but I I think I've seen more Mormons standing on street corners here in Southern California than I did there. So, uh, but there's churches everywhere. Like every single corner has a church. Um, but it is very beautiful. And then a couple months later, I went with my best friend Christine to the UK. First time I've ever been out of the country. I got to see my dream has always been to go to London and Scotland because I'm a big Harry Potter, Narnia nerd. And we were there for 2 whole weeks, and it was definitely one of the best trips I've ever taken.
Go check
Uh,
it out on the YouTube channel.
yeah, on Yield YouTube channel. Um, but it was lots of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I wish we could have stayed longer and I also definitely want to go back because there's still so much to see. But I think that was pretty much my travel for this year. Otherwise, it was you coming to me, so I did a lot of hosting
Mhm.
of you
Mhm.
this year.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, because I came out a lot this year. I came out, what,
You came out like
February, I
4
think?
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it was a lot.
we went to Disneyland in February. It was you, me, and my
And then we went in
parents.
April.
And then you and I went in April for your birthday. And then you came back out for it was Disneyland the first time, right? In September
Oh, yeah, 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 'cause we
for
went
like
and
fall
then I went back
time.
out for
And then went back out for Horror Nights.
lots of traveling to California.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year for me was, like, a lot of, like well, I did a lot of traveling to California, and this was, like, my concert year, I feel like, because
Mm-hmm.
I went to a lot of concerts this year, and I traveled for concerts this year, which was fun. I was probably like, my favorite parts of the year is traveling,
Yeah.
obviously. I don't
Who'd you
like
see in concert this year? Tell the
I
people.
saw let's see. I saw well, I was supposed to see Melanie
I
Martinez, and
was
it
gonna
didn't
say she did
happen.
not see Melanie
I
Martinez.
did not see Melanie Martinez. I saw Bad Omens, Avenged Sevenfold, and Falling in Reverse, Motionless in White, and Knocked Loose. What else did I Oh, we saw We Came as Romans, we went and saw is that what I feel like I'm missing some. Am I? Maybe. I don't know. That's a lot for me, though. I haven't
Yeah, I was about to say that's a pretty good lineup to see for the
yeah, and,
year.
like, a couple of them were, like, spontaneous, and then some other ones where I was like, "These are my favorite bands. I am not missing them. I don't care."
Yep. You're like, I have to see it.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, this was the year of Barbenheimer. I think that's a pretty good
It
I think that should be in
was.
our wrap up because Barbenheimer was a pretty big deal in my book, I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure. And both of us were very excited about both
Yes.
movies, which was
Mhm.
awesome. And also it's really what we kicked the podcast off with. Like we started podcasting right before
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And so Barbie and Oppenheimer, both movie chats, are towards the beginning of the
Mhm.
podcast. It was a lot of fun. It was very exciting to see people excited for movies again. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of because of COVID, so a lot of people stopped going, but then also a lot of studios weren't really pushing out anything
Yeah,
exciting or
nothing like
new.
real
Yeah, that was kind of
spectacular.
the first thing to like
I
reignite.
think this year I've gone to the movies more than I have in the last like probably like 6 years of my life. Like, I went I feel like I went a lot. Yeah, I went, like, a lot to the movies this year, so definitely, like, because of
Yeah,
Barbie and
so we
Oppenheimer.
both
Mhm.
saw yeah, Barbie and Oppenheimer. We both saw
Woo!
FNAF. We're in the
FNAF!
FNAF era.
Yes.
I feel like there was another movie that we both had seen, not together, but I think we both saw it, but maybe not.
Mm,
I'm trying to think what
I'm
other
trying to
movies
think
I
too
saw.
because I feel like I saw another movie in the theater, but I can't remember.
I did see Aquaman 2 before I was hospitalized, which if you've been following all of the Amber Turd uh snafu with Johnny Depp, you know that I was very disappointed that she tried to pull something like that and that kind of ruins the movie. Cause I remember when the first Aquaman came out, I loved her as Mara and I loved her and Jason Momoa's chemistry and it was great and I was excited to see it in the second movie, but she had to go and ruin everything. And so it wasn't as excited. Also because they tried to cut around her so much, it kind of ruined the flow of the movie for me anyways. It felt very all over the place. Um, but I will say that of course Jason Momoa always looks fantastic and is very pretty to look at. But I'm telling you right now, Patrick Wilson, who plays Orm, stole that freaking movie because not only does he look fine as heck and he put in the work, but also just Orm as a character has developed in this movie, and I really like it.
Oh, I saw Transformers in the theater. That was okay, I guess.
Was that this year?
Yeah.
Wow. It feels like
I
so
know,
long
it feels like
ago.
forever
I don't know
ago.
why. Oh, I saw John Wick 4. I saw that. Diego took me to go see that. That one was really good. Still can't believe Keanu Reeves agreed for another one after 3. I was like, wow, good for you, man. We've watched a lot of shows this year
Yeah,
too.
we have.
We've definitely Dungeons and Dragons came out I think in like March.
I never saw that one.
I saw that in theaters. That was cute. I'm gonna put it on my Voodoo if you want to watch it because I bought the DVD. I also saw when I was in Utah. Tammy took me to go see Shazam 2 because I love Zachary Levi, and I really enjoyed that because that one was really good too. And I think that was all the movies I seen. I feel like FNAF and Barbenheimer
We're the
for the
biggest.
two of us was
Yeah.
the biggest deals in our
FNAF really
year.
kicked off, my
The reemergence of Josh Hutcherson obsession
yes, and for just my FNAF
and
obsession.
FNAF.
It's just I
Yeah,
love it so much. Yeah, we did watch a lot of shows this year too. I watched The Boys, which again we started with our beginning of our podcast.
yeah, yeah.
Was like one of the first few episodes was The Boys. Also, if
It
I'm like,
was.
okay, I just want to say that if I'm not making sense, it's because I'm sick. If I just like randomly just like I'm like might lose my train of thought, it's because my head is pounding. So if you're like that sentence literally makes no sense. It's fine. It's fine. We're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Boys. I think that was probably my favorite show this year that I watched. I haven't finished Jujutsu Kaisen. I love that anime so much, but this last year was just not a happy season. So that was probably my other top one. But I really liked The
Nice.
Boys. It's a great show. I recommend it.
Yay.
If you haven't
If we haven't
God, see, words
convinced
are
you to
hard.
watch it,
There we go. Yeah.
then you go watch it because it's a really good show. It's
It's
got a
very
lot of
good.
swearing and a lot of blood and a lot of like sexual stuff. So be aware. But if you can, like, I don't know, a lot of stuff like that doesn't really bother me. It never really has.
Yeah,
But if
me
that
either.
if that bothers you, then keep the remote handy and just kind of fast forward here and there because it normally it doesn't last very long. The
No.
cursing does. They curse every other word. Every
Yeah,
other
you
word
can't get
out of
really around
Billy's
that.
mouth is the c word. So that's just who he is. But everything else you can kind of skip around and still understand. But yeah, The Boys is really good. I'm so glad you finally got into that. I've had actually quite a few friends get into The Boys because I won't shut up about it. And it's funny because I've been into the show before it even premiered. I was all in simply because Carl Urban was in it. So I'm glad that a lot of people have come around. I think for me, oh gosh, I don't know what my show of the year would be. I am excited that I am now into the world of anime.
Woo! A fellow weeb.
Yeah, so fellow weeb, I've seen 1.5 seasons of Attack on Titan. My goal is to finish that within like the next month. And I have started on my One Piece journey, which is going to be a very long journey, but I'm very excited. Um,
Yeah, I love anime, and that's just not a journey that I'm set to embark on yet.
well, good news is they're gonna be redoing it, so it'll be shorter and not have as much filler
Oh.
in it. So maybe when that version comes out, you'll pick up One Piece because I think you'll like it. It's goofy. It
Mhm.
reminds me of like Scooby Doo in a sense because it's just kind of like that like lighthearted, goofy bunch of friends doing crazy stuff, except there's always like a slightly darker undertone or message in there. And I'm like, wow, this is deep for an anime, but then some character will come in and be really goofy. And I'm just like, oh, there it is. There it is. We are very excited for this year's lineup for
Mhm.
television. I'm
Ooh,
excited.
yeah, baby.
The boy, obviously, we're going to continue with our boys episodes because season
Mhm.
4 should be coming out
Yay!
soon.
I can't wait.
Casey's almost done
Jinx
with
comes out
Gen
or,
V.
Arcane
Arcane
comes out
comes
this
out.
year.
And we're going
Yeah.
to have Wyatt back on the pod for that. Um, let's see. I'm excited for Casey to start Reacher eventually.
Yeah, that's my next one. I've got a few more episodes of Gen V, and that is my next one I'm planning on watching.
Yeah,
It's on my list.
I'm in season 2 of Reacher. Of course, where I caught up to the point now where it's weekly again, but season 2 is living
Ew.
up to the expectations of season 1, so I'm excited. They've kept the same vibe and the same amazingness about this show. So, season
Honestly,
2
yeah, like
so
if you don't
far,
have Amazon Prime,
get
you
it.
just need Amazon Prime because A, you get just Prime, which
Yeah.
I feel
Which
like
who
is
doesn't
worth it
want that?
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get, like, Prime Video, and, like, Prime Video has so many good things, surprisingly,
Mhm.
actually. Like, I just watched the movie Saltburn, and, like, that movie's,
Mhm.
like, just ingrained in my brain right now, like, I loved it so much. And that was on Prime Video, and I was like, "Dang, they have some bangers on here."
Yeah, Prime's really rolling on their original content. It's super amazing. I feel like Amazon as a studio really lets their people cook. They just let them cook,
Mhm.
let them do their thing, let them do their magic. And it really comes through. The actors are excited to be there, the producers and the directors are excited to be there. I have not heard anything in the media about working for Prime Studios as a negative thing, which I take as a good thing because you hear about other studios all the time. Um, but yeah, they're doing really good. And Amazon, if you happen to be listening, and you want us to like come to some premiere stuff, or we can be like your test audience for stuff, feel free to email us. Be great.
Would be great. Would be great.
Yeah, we'll do a hashtag spawn episode for you any day. Or just send us like some free swag or something. Or you
Yeah.
can have us meet Carl Urban and Jensen Ackles and Jeffrey Dean Morgan for the season 4 premiere, and we can do a podcast with them. That's also
Oh
fun.
my god, I, like, cannot wait for season 4. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. I feel like we both have celebrated the holidays a bit bigger this year because we did especially for fall. We did fall at
Yeah.
Disneyland, and then we did horror nights, and I will probably never stop telling people to just spring for the fast pass for horror nights.
Yes.
Just do it. It's so good. Unless you go like in September. If you go in September, you probably don't need that, but I would say if you go within like 3 weeks of Halloween, fast pass it up. Especially if you
Honestly,
go on the weekend.
yeah, and, like, see, this is where I do that thing where I lose my train of thought.
Fast
Where
pass,
am I?
Universal,
Fast Pass, Universal, yes. Yeah,
buy
the
it.
Halloween Horror Nights, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Hmm.
I'm really excited to see what they do this year.
Yeah, I'm really
I
hoping they
really
do
hope
something
I
FNAF.
yeah, I really hope they do something FNAF because,
Oh
like, I
gosh,
get why they didn't do it this year because, like, it
the
just
movie wasn't out
came
yet.
out. Yeah, the movie
Yeah.
wasn't even out until, like, the 27th.
Hmm.
Um, but it'll be so cool if they did a
Oh my
FNAF
god,
one. Oh my god, I would literally die.
be so good. Um, but yeah, and then so we did that for Halloween, and then um Christmas. I
We
feel
did our
like
birthdays.
we did our
We did a
birthdays.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that was, we did all the Disney stuff, and we did the drinks, and that was our drink testing trip.
yeah. We had a drink testing trip, and then the next one was food testing, and
Yes.
we tried all the things. We got to see Super Mario World at Universal with like not a giant crowd, which was
A
great.
toad.
Yeah,
A
Casey got to
toad.
meet the man of her dreams, Toad. No one could ever
Best day of
compare.
my life. Not
And
even my
it's all
wedding will
on
compare to that
video.
moment.
Oh, absolutely not. Toad will always reign supreme.
But yeah, we definitely are doing more traveling, more
Mhm.
you're doing more hosting this year. We have lots
I
of
am.
plans coming up.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. So, I know I have 2. No, actually, I'll have 3 trips this year because 'cause I'll have potentially 2 Oklahoma trips because I'll have the one that I'm missing this weekend for Zachary. That'll probably be in, like, February, but also my friend, who's basically my little sister, Emma, got engaged, and so they're potentially getting married in the fall. So, I might be out for a
Fun.
wedding, and then I'm so excited. So, I turned 30 this year.
Oh my gosh.
I know, going on the 30 with no gallbladder, but, uh, I get to go to 2 supernatural conventions this year. So I get to go to one right before my birthday because they're actually doing one in Burbank, which makes me so excited. And then I'm going to the one in Austin, Texas, and that's going to be like my birthday trip this year. And I'm going to meet Jensen Ackles, and I am probably going to cry because I love him
Can you
so
record it?
much. Absolutely. I've
Okay,
literally
good.
seen people on Instagram who like they come out of like meeting him and Jared and they're like full on bawling. And then they pass other people who are also crying and they're like, "Did you meet him?" And they're like, "Yeah, did you?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're just everybody's crying. Um so I'm so excited to meet him and I get to take a picture with him. So that's gonna be great. And then Casey's gonna come back out at least once for Horror Nights and Disney, and Wyatt may be potentially joining us, so we'll have so much shenanigans in
It'll
person.
be a whole big weeb fest when we're all
Yeah,
together.
yeah, and they will both be at my house. I warned my mom. I was like, "We're gonna have a full house because I'm gonna potentially have Casey and Wyatt here, so be aware." Um,
Oh
but yeah, we've
man.
got lots to look forward to in this new year. And we're both really excited to continue the podcast. I've had a lot of fun making the podcast.
Yes,
Um,
it's been so much fun, and this is gonna be our this was what our entire this will be our first full year,
full year.
yeah, doing the podcast, so that's exciting.
Yes, and hopefully we'll kind of get more opportunities with the podcast and we can talk about a lot of different things and do different stuff and hopefully neither of us will be on death's door at the end of next year like we have this year so we can keep things up because I literally had so many plans to edit stuff for the social medias and then I was in the hospital and I went, well, I guess I'm not doing any of that now.
Yeah, and we're like, we'll just reschedule it, but you know what? We made it. We did the episode.
We
We
did.
got it. We got it done. It's,
Yep.
it's our first episode of the year. It's just a little recap, but there's lots of big things coming. We'll just say that if you
Yes.
know what I mean. Wink, wink. I
Yes.
actually don't know what that means, but you know,
We'll figure it out when we get there.
yeah, we'll get there.
So thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. I know we said this in the Spotify wrap up episode, but thank you to everybody who had us as their number one podcast. You guys are the best. Don't
And
forget
keep telling
to
your friends and your family and your
yes,
dog and anybody that'll listen. If you
anybody
just
that'll
find anybody
listen.
that'll listen, tell them I
Actually,
like
even
it.
if they don't listen, just force it
Yeah, even if they
upon
don't
them
listen.
and it'll be fine.
Download Spotify on their phone and then
And
just make
follow
sure
us
that
on
they
there.
listen to it. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, don't forget to do all the podcasty things down below. I've had a couple of questions and polls in the last couple of episodes. So ooh, you know what? I should actually, while we're sitting here, I should see if anybody answered any of them. Um, so when you're done listening to these episodes, don't forget to look down below or wherever it's supposed to appear. I don't actually know because I've never actually looked, but
Yeah, it's down below.
Yeah, okay. So take a look at that. Ooh, okay. So let's see. Did I have anybody? So I had a poll in our last episode, which was our latest episode about the boys, and I asked who's the craziest, Homelander or Billy, and everybody voted Homelander, and I would have to agree.
Yeah.
Homelander is just another. He's on another playing
Homelander's his
field.
own breed of crazy, and I
He
feel
truly
like
is.
you just cannot compare other like because Billy is crazy for
Yeah.
sure. Like he is
Oh yeah.
crazy, but Homelander is like his own species of crazy.
He truly
So
is.
I agree.
Okay, so don't forget to keep your eyes out for those. We love seeing your guys' responses and answers. Um, and I think that's all we got for this episode. So don't forget to follow us on all the socials. And we will see you guys in the next episode. So bye.
Bye. Happy New Year. Woo!